Hello everybody. In this video, we are going to approach a certain essay. Before discussing the chosen essay, you should read the essay itself carefully. We are going to discuss Francis Bacon's Of Stories. Now, let us begin discussing Bacon's Of Stories. Of Stories is an expository essay in which Bacon shows new ideas about stories. He expresses his ideas on the functions of books and how to read them. The first thing to discuss is the title. To study means to read and peruse profoundly. So, the essay is about studying, not reading. Now, let us discuss the essay to understand its ideas. The first thing to discuss is ideas. So, we should begin with thought. The first idea in the essay is the function of books. Bacon asserts that books have three main functions. The first function is entertainment. The second is enrichment of one's linguistic abilities. And the third is the sharpening of readers' minds. Bacon states that stories serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. He also advises people to avoid spending time in reading for ornamentation. He states this idea by saying that to spend too much time in studies is sloth, and to use them too much for ornament is affectation. Then, Bacon states the functions of certain subjects of books. He says, histories make men wise, poets witty, the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, moral grave, logic and rhetoric able to contend. So, depending on Bacon's statement, books affect the behavior of the reader according to the subject he reads. The second main idea of stories has to do with the different attitudes of people toward books. He states that people's attitudes toward books differs from a reader to another according to their missions, professions, and beliefs. He states that crafty men contemn stories, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. The previous statement means that people respond to books differently. Some value them and use them, others do not. For example, people who work with their hands do not find much use of books, and they may think that reading books wastes their time. The third idea in the essay is how to read books. According to Bacon, some books are to be read in parts, but not with great attention. Other books are to be read wholly with great attention. Bacon states this idea in the essay by saying some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. Bacon also emphasizes one should, when reading, weigh and consider and think, not just believe or take for granted. About the structure of the essay. The whole essay is one paragraph, so it is difficult to understand. Bacon does not focus on the overall structure of the essay. He focuses on the development of the ideas of his essay. Bacon focuses on the sentence more than the paragraph. This style is called the organic structure. In such structure, there is no absolute division in the essay. Some ideas are more elaborated than others. Bacon is a strong advocate of books. His thesis is so clear that books are useful and necessary to people in their life. To him, books are a cure for many diseases and are an opportunity through which many benefits to be gained. The antithesis of Bacon's essay is the side effects that may be resulted of studies. He declares the side effects of the essay by saying that To spend too much time in stories is sloth. To use them too much for ornament is affectation. To make judgment holy by their rules is the humor of a scholar. He means that sitting aside long hours in a day to study will make a man indolent. Overuse of wisdom to analyze ordinary commonplace issues may make the man appear pretentious. Sticking too much to rules to assess situations and to decide on action may invite derision from others. He mentions both thesis and antithesis in the same sentence, so he is making synthesis. Bacon's style is considered a modern one. Bacon uses up-to-date words, so diction is modern. He uses some obsolete words, but these words do not make the essay difficult to understand. Bacon precisely chooses his words and expressions because he is an intellectual man. He sometimes uses certain words as they were used to mean in his time, but they are used differently nowadays. For example, he uses the expression expert men to mean men of experience. Nowadays, the expression is used to mean specialists. Bacon's sentences are long, but they are divided into smaller sections using commas for clarity. For example, Bacon says that for expert men can execute and perhaps judge of particulars one by one. Another characteristic of Bacon's style is his economic use of words and sentences. Bacon also uses some poetic devices such as alliteration, repetition, and figurative language. Alliteration is the repetition of certain consonant sounds at the beginning of words within the same clause or sentence. The first alliteration appears in the first sentence in delight and ornament. About the figurative language, Bacon uses and employs a number of similes and metaphors. He draws a nice metaphor when he says some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. That is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be read wholly and with attention. Here, he makes a comparison between food and books. Of Bacon's voice, he is serious, didactic, persuasive, logical, and objective. There is no irony or humor in the essay. Bacon is seriously demonstrating his ideas. He offers his ideas and thoughts through a persuasive method, but exciting and interesting. By the end of this discussion, I hope it to be beneficial to you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.